Problem with Apu is a documentary by Harry Kondabolu. It came out in November of 2017 and it has resonated for a few months now due to the topic in conversation.
Now to the controversy surrounding Apu on The Simpsons, who runs the Quickie Mart. This has been a conversation that has been going on for a while. Last year, a documentary came out called The Problem with Apu, which had comedians discussing the fact that Apu asserts a lot of South Asian and Indian stereotypes.
Yeah, when the show premiered in 1989, Apu was the only South Asian character on TV, so it was seen as groundbreaking at that point. But now in 2018, it's seen as insulting.
If you've not heard about this, it has been somewhat in the news over here. I think it's been more prevalent in the American news, but if you haven't heard of it, I'll give you a quick rundown. The synopsis is: The Problem with Apu focuses on the character Apu Nahasapima Pentalon, an Indian immigrant in the animated sitcom The Simpsons, who, for a period, was the only figure of South Asian heritage to appear regularly on a mainstream US television show. The film explores encounters with negative stereotypes, racial microaggressions, and slurs against people of Indian and South Asian heritage, decimated through the character. This was a weird one for me to watch. I saw little snippets, like I've just previously said in the news, about this coming out, and I didn't think there was a problem. I went into this thinking it's something else that, you know, people have a problem with. There's no harm in it. What's the problem? But then I found out that Hank Azaria does the voice, which was an odd one, because I never knew it was a white guy doing the voice. I have previously said, I think I've even said on some podcasts I've done before, I don't find accents racist. I even watched a comedian at Glastonbury Festival last year, God, I can't remember his name, but he made a really good argument of why accents aren't racist. And so I went into this thinking, like, okay, so now I know it's a white guy. That has changed my perception slightly. Maybe I understand why people might get offended, but I don't think they should be offended. And this is why I love documentaries, because by the end of this, I get it. I kind of thought maybe I was won over maybe a bit too easy, and thought, well, hold on, if I thought before that it wasn't a problem, now I do. Am I easily swung? So I rang one of my friends and asked him, you know, do you have a problem with Apu? And explained, you know, it's a white guy. And he was like, yeah, no, I know it's a white guy. I've seen the paper. I don't have a problem. I think it's a bit of a, you know, bit overreaction. So I went, can you just watch this documentary with me and see what you think? After 10 minutes, he turned to me and went, I get it. 10 minutes it took to convince him as well. Harry is extremely good at putting a point across. He doesn't do this as an excuse to moan or whine. He points out how this character has affected people, how his portrayal hasn't always been in the best of light, how his stereotype is different from other stereotypes on the show. And he does combat this from every angle. He thinks of every argument, because there's a lot of arguments to be had here from both sides, as to why there isn't really a problem with Apu. Like, you know, because there's Italians, there's you know, stereotyped Italians, stereotyped drunks, stereotyped Chinese people in The Simpsons, and he has a fantastic argument as to for each point. It isn't just like well, I find this offensive. It's really constructed well. He makes a point of not trying to put blame on anyone in particular. So he defends The Simpsons somewhat in itself. He defends Hank Azaria to a point, and just kind of points out that it's a product of its time. But then you kind of hear how the creation of the character came about, and you don't know who's telling the truth. But one of these stories is true, and they're all bad. He makes a really good point at saying, like, the character in himself has some funny lines. He has some great lines.
All right, here's your last question. What was the cause of the Civil War?
Actually, there were numerous causes. Aside from the obvious schism between abolitionists and anti-abolitionists, economic factors, both domestic and international, played a significant...
Yeah. Just say slavery.
Slavery it is, sir.
Yes, I am a citizen. Now, which way to the welfare office?
What?
I'm kidding. I work.
But for every great line he has a line which is quite insulting. Think of a really intellectual line and clever line that Apu says. He's not saying there's not been any. He's just saying, but you don't remember that part of the character. That's not the part of the character you're meant to remember. It's the silly part, the pedankering part. You have a whole host of celebrities in this, like Aziz Ansari, Whoopi Goldberg, Kumar, from Harold and Kumar.
I hate Apu.
Hate Apu.
And because of that, I dislike The Simpsons.
The whole series.
Yeah.
I love The Simpsons because...
You hate yourself.
It's really well constructed. It's really an easy watch. Harry himself doesn't come off, like I said, as a whining, moaning person whatsoever. He comes off more just like as an angry but clever comedian, just trying to get his point across. The problem with Apu is the solution, where he wants to kill off the character entirely, which doesn't seem to be... I don't know. It doesn't seem to be the right solution to me. I'd say the only other problem with this documentary is, like I said, he won my friend over in 10 minutes. He definitely had me by the end of it. But I did feel the last 10, maybe 15 minutes, he was putting forward a point which I didn't really... I got it by now. I've got it. These are like... What you've done, you've started so strong that these tiny things you're bringing up, almost irrelevant. But that's not to take anything away from it, because at the end of the day, I'm not an American Asian guy or girl, so I'm kind of far removed from this argument. So the fact that it's got me to at least see that point of view is testament to the documentary. I would tell anyone who's heard about this topic at the moment in the news, heard about this Apu quandary, to watch the documentary themselves. Whether you are strongly like, no, I don't care, no, there's no problem, then watch it. If you can get to the end of that and say that you don't see it from the other side, then that's fair enough. If you like The Simpsons or you don't, if you have heard about this topic or you haven't, I do recommend watching this. Although, like I said, a little bit too long. I give this 4 out of 5 docs.
21 gigawatts!
What did you think? Leave your comments in the comment section down below. Don't forget to rate, like, subscribe, and don't forget to head over to talknerdy.uk for this and more. Peace!